Hi folks, HR Funk here. Welcome to my 700th YouTube video. And if everything goes according to plan, this video should go live at 8 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Wednesday, December 7th of 2022. December 7th, of course, being most significant because this is the date that we remember the Americans who were lost in the attack on Pearl Harbor, and that's certainly the most significant thing we can do on this day. But personally, this day has another association for me, particularly this year in 2022. December 7th of 2022 marks the 10-year anniversary of the first video that I ever posted to YouTube. That's right, I've now been doing this for a decade. And in commemoration of that, I wanted to produce this special 10-year anniversary video and take a look back at the origins of HR Funk and this channel and the way the channel has evolved over the years. And by the time the video comes to an end, I'm going to talk a little bit too about maybe where I see this going in the future. And also, as part of this commemoration, this evening at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, I am going to be conducting my special 10-year anniversary live stream. And just as I've done in past live streams, I'm going to be bringing guests on the show, so if you'd like to appear as a guest, you can. And I would love to hear particularly stories about videos that I produced that you've enjoyed, or maybe even some that you didn't like, or videos maybe that were the ones that first brought you in as a subscriber or a viewer. I would love to hear those kind of stories. Mimi is going to appear as a special guest, so she's going to be there as well. And this should be a great time. I hope to see you this evening on December 7th, 2022 at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time for that live stream. But for now, sit back and relax while I take a look back at the last decade of HR Funk on YouTube. Wow, the early days. Some of you who have been longtime subscribers and viewers might have heard some parts of this story in the past that I'm about to relay, and some of you who are brand new might not have heard any part of it before, but I don't think I've ever told it in quite the detail that I'm about to, because this goes all the way back to 2006, 2007, somewhere in that time frame. And at that time, I really started to first watch a lot of YouTube videos. YouTube was relatively new in those days, and as a lifelong firearms enthusiast, it was nice to have a place where I could go and take a look at content that was fairly current. A lot of times things as they were introduced quickly made their way to YouTube and you could get some information. And at that time I had also been a firearms instructor for police officers for many, many years. I was teaching Ohio citizens concealed handgun license classes, and I had been a SWAT team member, sniper. A lot of you know my resume. I'm not going to run that all down. But it was nice to have that venue on the internet where I could go and get that relatively current firearms content. So I was watching YouTube videos routinely, and as time went by, I noticed a trend with some videos, and that was either the information that was being relayed was not tremendously accurate, or it was being presented in such a way that I thought it really cast firearms owners, particularly American firearms owners, in a poor light to a global audience. And I remember particularly one day sitting and watching a video, and when it was over, I was complaining to Mimi about how I just didn't care for the information and the way it was presented in this video. And she said to me, well, why don't you present your own videos, or why don't you produce your own videos? And of course, Marine sit there and go, yeah, why don't I produce my own videos? It can't be that tough. Little did I know. So not too long after that, I decided to jump in and try to produce a YouTube video. And I've told this before, I have no history in photography, videography, video editing, nothing like that. And I know that is painfully obvious to many of you. I am not an actor by any stretch of the imagination. And on top of all this, I didn't have anybody to teach me. So everything you see in my videos is self-taught. I am a one-man show. I don't have anyone that follows me around with a camera or anyone who does my editing or anything like that. Everything from conceptualizing the video until what you see on your screen in front of you is all done by me. So when I first started this out, I decided to produce a video on Duracoating firearms. That was something I was doing back at that time. As a SWAT team sniper, I was interested in making my firearms blend into the environment better, particularly for some operations that we were going out on at that time involving meth labs and things like that. I didn't want them to be all black and stand out like so many firearms do. So I produced this particular video, and in those days, YouTube restricted the length of your video until you had a certain number of subscribers. I believe it was 1,000 subscribers you had to have before you could go over a video that was 10 minutes in length. So I had to split this video up into 3 segments. It's 2 10-minute segments and then like a 7-minute segment or something like that talking about the Duracoating process. But what you're about to see is the first time HR Funk ever appeared on YouTube. Try not to laugh too hard. This is how it went.
Hi YouTube, this is my first ever video. It's one that I've been thinking about doing for a while. I'm doing a video on lessons learned from Duracoating. For any of you, one of the various hats I wear is I'm a law enforcement sniper. So the idea of being able to camouflage my firearms, have them blend with the environment a little bit better, was something that was important to me. And I thought this was something that I could do with the Duracoat that would be very functional, as well as protecting my firearms.
So yes, that was me in a video from 10 years ago today, or at least the video went live 10 years ago today. And I was such a neophyte, if you couldn't tell by watching the video, that I didn't even realize that if I turned my phone sideways, I would get the landscape view like you have here, rather than that narrow iPhone view. And somebody somewhere along the line pointed that out, that, hey, you need to turn your phone and you'll get a different view. So I learned that from my very first video. And of course, there were a lot of other things. When I watch that video myself, it's almost painful because I'm walking around, the camera is bouncing like the Blair Witch Project. I sound awful when I'm talking. And the way I present myself in the videos was something I really had to learn, because as an instructor, I was used to being in front of a group of people. And when you're instructing people in person, you get instant feedback on how you're communicating. Either you get smiles or nods, or if you make a joke, they'll chuckle or whatever, and you know that you are actually connecting with the people that are in the class. But with a camera, you get none of that, and especially a camera when I'm all by myself, just like I am now, trying to project some sort of personality into the camera is something that takes a while to learn, and I still don't think I do it well, but I do it better now than I did back then. So when I first started this whole thing out, it was really intended to be nothing more than kind of an interesting hobby, just something I would do once in a while. I was not really intending on having any kind of a regular production schedule. I really didn't even expect to have many people watching the videos. I thought maybe if somebody was out there who was interested in the things I was talking about, they might find the information that I presented to be helpful, but I didn't think about it too much beyond that. I also was not focused exclusively on firearms content when I first started out. A lot of you know that along with shooting and my shooting activities that I'm involved in, that I'm also a lifelong martial artist. In fact, I think of shooting as just another martial art. So I was also of the mind that I was going to produce some martial arts videos as well, sort of as a instructional tool for anyone that couldn't make it to a class, or maybe they were first getting started or interested in martial arts or whatever. So I started to produce some martial arts content as well. Now I have since taken all the martial arts content down because I just think it is so bad. But for this video, I thought I would dig a little bit of that back up and show it to you. I doubt that very many of you at all, if any, have ever seen any of this content. So this was me back in those days. I think this was around late December of 2012 or early January of 2013 when I produced this video, and here's how it went.
There we go. There we go. All right.
So yes, I know that's not exactly up to the standards of a Chuck Norris movie. Sorry. Like I said, I've taken it all down. But one of the things that I've done and I've felt compelled to do ever since those very first videos is to watch the videos myself and self-critique. And I look at them, even now, the videos that I produce constantly, every time I produce a video, before it ever goes live, I watch it myself on my large TV. And I look for things that I think worked well. I look for anything that I don't like the way I said and try to make a mental note not to say it that way again, or not to present something in that type of way again. So I am constantly trying to improve what you see on your end of the video. And that started way back in these very first videos. The next one that I have a clip from was my first ever firearms review. And this was around this same time frame as the videos you've just seen. Mimi got me a pistol for Christmas it was Christmas of 2012. And I decided to make a review video of that pistol. And again, this was how I went about it, and here's how it looked.
Both of the triggers are the hinged variety that Smith & Wesson uses with more or less a built-in safety under the trigger. The only thing I wish was different about this particular M&P 22 pistol is I wish it did not have the manual safety mounted to the top of the frame.
So something that became very apparent to me early on during my time making YouTube videos is I could absolutely not take myself too seriously. There's no way I could present myself like I have in some of these clips that you've just seen and get upset if somebody critiqued me or if something just didn't come across right or it seemed silly or whatever. So I've maintained that as well. I never try to take myself too seriously in these videos. I don't try to present myself as an expert. I don't even know what the word expert means. I just know it applies to people who are not me. There was a strange thing that happened though with these videos when I started to produce them, these early videos, and that's the fact that people actually watched them. I would look at YouTube and I would see view numbers for my video and I would think, wow, 17 people watched that video, or 25 people watched that video, or whatever. And as that occurred, I really started to not take myself seriously, but take the idea of presenting good videos seriously. I wanted to try to make sure that I was presenting information that was good information. I wanted to present it in a way that was entertaining and enjoyable to watch. I wanted to make sure that I was not being insulting, derogatory, or anything like that, because it was very apparent to me that I was presenting myself to people around the world, and I'm representing not only myself, I'm representing other Americans, I'm representing firearms owners, I'm representing police officers, I'm representing Marines, but I was very, very aware of that, and I wanted to make sure that I was presenting myself and representing all those groups as best that I possibly could. I didn't want anyone to see me and think the entire group that I was representing was somehow a bad group of individuals because of the way I presented myself. So I've always tried to maintain that. I try to maintain that to this day. And as we look at some of the ways these videos evolved and the channel evolved, regardless of what has changed, that is one thing that has never ever changed. And it's probably my guiding principle when it comes to making YouTube videos. So in any case, as I said, in the early days, there was no regular production schedule. I wasn't even interested or intending to make money on YouTube. And I would make a video here and a video there. I started to get into some of the other things that were facets of my existence, like some videos detailing armorers topics. I got into some videos talking about hand loading ammunition. I started talking about precision rifle shooting. I started talking about some match shooting. And by and large, the view numbers that I was getting got higher and higher and higher, and I started to actually get people subscribing to the channel. This is another thing. Somebody's going to subscribe to my video channel. Wow. And again, I'm not minimizing those early views or those early subscriptions. I appreciated it then. I appreciate it now. So thank you very much to any of you who were back around in those early days and put up with some very, very amateurish video production. It's still amateurish, but I just don't think it's as bad as it was back then. So March of 2014 rolled around, and I was still producing Duracoat videos at that time. In fact, I produced them on and off over the years several times. And I produced one on the durability of Duracoat. I had Duracoated one of my handguns. It was actually an M&P compact pistol from Smith & Wesson that I had Duracoated in one of my earlier videos, and I was coming back and taking a look at how the Duracoat was wearing. And this was the first time that I had a really successful video. I uploaded this video, I think it was March 14th of 2014, and the view numbers just shot up like crazy. They went up by the thousands. It seemed like every hour that I looked, another 1,000 views had been tallied toward that video, and currently it's got well over 100,000 views. And to this day, I don't know why. I don't know what made that video so much better or more interesting for people to watch than any of the other videos I was producing at that time. And this is where I first started to get acquainted with the YouTube algorithm and sort of the fickle nature of YouTube. Something about that video, again, something I still don't understand, was something that YouTube, via their algorithm, felt was worth putting out to a lot of potential viewers, and a lot of those viewers actually watched the video. Now, at that time, my videos still were not monetized. I think you had to have something like 10,000 viewers. I believe that was the threshold before you could monetize videos. So the video wasn't making any money, but lots and lots of people were watching it. And this was nice because also the more people that watched, the more people who tended to subscribe to the channel. So it was really great for helping build a channel, even though, as I said, it didn't earn any money. So from that video and the other ones that I had been producing up to that time, got more and more views, and I got more and more subscribers. I really started to understand how much I valued the fact that people were taking time out of their lives to watch anything that I put up on YouTube and listen to anything I had to say. And that's something that I value to this day. For all of you who watch these videos, please understand that you are the reason that I'm here. I do not make these videos with the idea that I'm going to become wealthy. I don't make these videos as some sort of an ego thing where I'm trying to demonstrate how superior I am to everyone else. I produce these videos because you folks out there enjoy watching them, and I get a tremendous amount of feedback. The real benefit, or the big thing that I get from this YouTube experience, is the interaction from all of you, many of whom have a tremendous amount of knowledge yourselves, and we talk back and forth. I have told people for years and years, and I will say it again, I have the best viewers on YouTube. This is a thinking group of viewers. This is a great group of viewers. Everyone who chimes in on the premiere videos and the live chat, everyone who comes to the live stream, all of you that I've met in person, that I've talked to on the phone, that I've sent messages and emails back and forth to, who have given me suggestions for video topics, who have actually sent, money and products and things like that to me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You are the reason I am here. And I make these videos for you. And I think I really first started to get a sense for how important that was to me, and really even maybe how much of a contribution I could make in 2014. Now, winding the clock back to 2013, I went to the Civilian Marksmanship Program's East Coast matches down at Camp Butner, North Carolina in 2013. I believe it was April of 2013. And I recorded some video while I was there, and I came back and I produced a larger video talking about the matches that took place there. When I went back in 2014, I ran into shooters who told me they had seen my videos and it looked like so much fun that they wanted to come and experience it themselves. I thought, wow, that's tremendous. I'm actually doing something that people look at and they think this might be something they want to do, and they're coming out and they're trying the matches, in this case down at Camp Butner. And I thought, that's fabulous. Look at what I can do in the context of a YouTube video that might actually help improve people's lives and give them something that they can enjoy themselves that they might not have previously been able to do. So that year, when I went to Camp Perry, I produced a video that I'm still proud of to this day. And I called it my Camp Perry Primer. And the reason I produced this video, and I've told this story before, but some of you might not have heard it. The very first time I went to Camp Perry for the national matches, all I knew is I wanted to go up there and shoot. I wanted to shoot in the national matches all my life. I was familiar with them as an event, but I didn't know any of the nuts and bolts as to how it actually worked when you got there and you signed up to shoot in the matches. So a lot of you are going to hear this part of the story and think, what a moron, which probably is true. I drove to Camp Perry the very first time I ever went, and I parked in the parking lot that's in front of the Rodriguez Range. For those of you who are familiar with Camp Perry, you know where I'm talking about. And I'm looking around thinking, all right, what do I do next? There were people out on the range who were shooting. Now, it turns out it was the Marine Corps Small Arms shooting school that was out there firing. So I just walked out onto the range. I thought, well, I guess I find somebody and say, hey, I want to shoot. Walked out there, and one of the Marines was walking by. Now, he probably thought, hey, this is another jarhead. But I walked up, I said, hey, I want to shoot in the matches. What do I need to do, or who do I need to talk to? And he looked at me like, yeah, you're an idiot. And he said, well, the gunny is in charge of the range right now. You can talk to him. So I walked over to the gunnery sergeant that was there and said, hey, I came up to shoot in the national matches and wasn't sure what I need to do. So I wonder if you could let me know what I need to do to be able to shoot. And he says, have you done your in-processing yet or signed up for any matches or anything? No. He said, well, go to that building right back there and they'll get you started. So then I realized you had to go back. There's a whole in-processing procedure you have to go through where you formally sign up for the matches and you pay the fees and all that kind of thing. So when I produced this video for the 2014 national matches, I was trying to save anybody else from going through that experience that I had and not having the first clue about what you need to do when you're shooting in the national matches. And I produced that video and I tried to detail not only the mechanical aspects as far as, signing up for the matches and participating in the matches and all that, but show Camp Perry a little bit, talk about some of the things that go on there, some of the things you see. One of the things that was really nice was the people that worked the tower there. There is a tower that keeps an eye on the ranges and also keeps an eye out on Lake Erie to make sure no boats are coming into the impact area or anything like that. They allowed me to go up into the tower and take some video looking out across the ranges while I was up there, so I got some great footage that way. And anyway, here is a little bit of some of that video that I took for my 2014 Camp Perry primer. It is 7:12 a.m. on Thursday, July 17th, and I am arriving back at Camp Perry, Ohio for the 2014 Civilian Marksmanship Program's high-power rifle matches. Back into the pit area and right out into the lake. It's like the outline. Mark 5-7. Mark 5-7. When your targets appear. We get into the President's Match, the NTI. We'll get here at about 5 o'clock in the morning, spend the whole day on the range, and not leave until about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So around this time, and this is mid-2014, another unexpected thing started to happen. And that is, I would show up at places and sometimes people would recognize me. I'd show up at a gun show or show up at the national matches or wherever, the NRA annual meeting, and people would come up and say, "Hey, are you HR Funk?" Well, yeah, I am. "Can I get my picture taken with you?" "Sure." So I again, never expected any of this stuff. It's nice. I mean, if you see me, please feel free to come up and say hi. I love to meet viewers whenever I might come across them. And please don't feel that I'm being condescending rather by saying viewers. I need a collective way to refer to everyone, so that's the word that I use. I do recognize you and think of you though as individuals, so please don't feel insulted when I use the term viewers. But in any case, people started to recognize me, and the next thing that happened was I started to be contacted by people in the firearms industry and being asked to review their products and one thing and another. And around this same time, I thought maybe I should start to take this whole YouTube thing a little bit more serious and start to approach it with a more professional or at least structured procedure rather than just the hit and miss once in a while, every so often videos that I was doing. Now, hand in hand with this, I also noticed that the more videos that I produced, particularly the videos where I was shooting or going to matches or what have you, were costing me more and more money to produce. So I had to have, I think it was 10,000 subscribers before I could join the YouTube Partner Program and monetize the videos and actually have ads placed on the videos, and then a portion of the revenue that's earned by those ads by Google comes back to me. It's a small portion, but it's a portion nonetheless. And I was really, you're going to laugh at this, I was really hesitant to do that because I was afraid it would change the relationship I had with all of you, with my viewers on YouTube, if I was approaching this thing as a business and not approaching it as something that I was doing as an information sharing and entertainment type of an undertaking. And I really went back and forth on that. You know, do I want to do this? Do I not want to do it? Do I just want to keep, making the videos so often? But I really wanted to step up the production and, again, start to make it a little bit more professional. So I went ahead and I joined the YouTube Partner Program and I started to monetize the videos. Yeah, and I went back and I monetized my older videos as well. And it was nice to have a little bit of money coming in every month to help offset some of what I was paying. In those early days, it wasn't much. It was, I don't know, $125, $150 a month or something. So it would buy a little bit of ammunition or something like that, but it was not a tremendous amount of money. And it also wasn't an absolute. I might have $125 one month. The next month, you have, at least in those days, and I think it's still like this, you had to earn at least $100 before YouTube would ever pay out any money to you. So I might get $125 one month, and then if views fell off the next month, it might not reach that $100 threshold, and I might not get anything the next month. So it just kind of all depended on the views and the ads and all that thing, and still does to this day as far as that goes. But I went ahead and I monetized the videos, and as I said, I started to be contacted by advertisers. And when I started to get these calls, and not just advertisers, but also other people in the industry, I was a little concerned because I knew what they were looking for. They were looking for very positive reviews of whatever they were producing so that it would help them sell those items in the market. And I never ever wanted to be an infomercial, and I still don't to this day. So whenever I'm contacted by anyone, and starting way back in the 2014, 2015 timeframe, if I'm contacted by someone who wants me to review one of their products, I will tell them flat out if I'm going to review the product, and I am selective about what I review. I don't review just everything. And these days, once or twice a week, I'll get some email or some other solicitation asking me to review this product or that product or something else. But I am selective if it's something that's not interesting to me, or I don't think it's going to be interesting to you, or I just don't think I can put together a video that's going to be anything worth watching. I got a request the other day to do a review on a gun belt, and just a belt that people would use for concealed carry. I don't know how in the world you do a review on a belt. You put it on, you say, yep, it holds my pants up, it holds my firearm in place. How do you review that? So I declined on that, even though they were going to send me a free belt and all that kind of thing. But early on, one of the first times that happened was with an advertising company out on the West Coast that represented several companies in the firearms industry. And they offered to send me an actual firearm. I thought, wow, this is great. People are going to now send, because up to that time, anything you saw was something I had purchased or that someone had loaned to me for a review. I thought, man, this is great. People are going to be sending me firearms to review, and I now can have things that I otherwise wouldn't be able to review for all of you. So I actually ended up getting 2 different firearms from this ad company. They both came from the same manufacturer. And I gave what I thought was an honest review. And to this day, I think that 90% of the review was positive, but there were a couple of things about these firearms that I didn't care for. And I stated that flatly in the review videos that I produced. And I promptly never heard from that advertising company or that manufacturer again, which is where I started to really learn some lessons about how this all works. And if you ever notice, well, let me back up a step or two. On YouTube, the way you get a lot of views, and this is not just with firearms content, but the way you get a lot of views is with the newest, latest, and greatest. Doesn't matter what it is. Newest, latest, and greatest video game, newest and latest and greatest automobile, newest, latest, and greatest funny cat video, whatever. The way you get a lot of views is with the newest, latest, and greatest. There are YouTube content creators out there who constantly get the newest, latest, and greatest firearms sent to them by the manufacturers. And if they want to keep those firearms coming in from the manufacturers, it's in their best interest to make sure that the manufacturers are happy with the videos they're producing. So if you ever wonder why there are certain channels out there where everything is positive with regard to their reviews and you never hear much in the way of negative content and they always have the newest, latest, and greatest firearm, I'll let you connect all these dots yourself. I'm not trying to disparage anyone. I am not trying to insult anyone. But again, this can be a business. And people do what they need to do to get by in this world. I understand that. But it's more important for me to make sure all of you are getting my honest opinion. So because of that, I don't always have the newest, latest, and greatest. When you see a product that's launched and there is this wave of YouTube videos that are produced on the day the launch is announced or the product launch is announced, I'm not part of that wave. I'm usually a little ripple somewhere months or weeks or maybe years later if I even can get a chance to review that particular product. But when you see something that I review, it is something where I am giving you my honest opinion of that product. It is not a paid infomercial. By the way, I don't want you to get the idea that all of my interactions with people in the industry have been negative. That's not the case at all. In fact, around this same time frame, the 2015, 2016 area, I started to make some contact with other companies, companies like Optics Planet, companies like Hilux Optic, companies like Hot Munitions. Actually, Hot Munitions has been a little bit more recent, that have been very, very good relationships. And one of the nice things about having a smaller channel is I tend to build relationships with smaller manufacturers, and it's a friendly relationship. It's something where I get to know these people, they get to know me, and there's not that business feel to it. It's more of a relationship with other people that I like. All of these businesses have people that I communicate with routinely, that we have a great relationship back and forth. I can say whatever I want to about the products that I review, and I'm not going to have to worry about what kind of backlash there's going to be. In fact, with some of these companies, if I make a negative comment, they will take that into consideration with future redesigns of their product or what have you. So that's kind of nice as well. But anyway, as all this is going on, and as I said a little while ago, I really wanted to try to put a little bit more structure and a little bit more professionalism into my video productions. And I started to do some different things. One of the things that I thought I really needed to do was come up with a set, somewhere that when I produced a video, especially if I was indoors and I can use during times that there's inclement weather or that I'm talking about something that doesn't require me to be on a range or whatever, I wanted something that seemed familiar. If you ever notice when you watch, say, home improvement shows or something like that, it always takes place in someone's woodworking shop where they have all their tools there and everything else. And I wanted it to have that kind of a feel to it, like you were coming in and joining me and we were talking about whatever that topic of the day was going to be. So this was my first attempt at a set, and this was back, I think, in 2016. So like I said, that was my first attempt at a set. And I really didn't like it that much. I think I used it in maybe one other video, and I just decided I don't care for the way that looks. I've got to come up with something better. So eventually what I decided to use was my actual shop here. And this is a constant work in progress. What you see here now is the current evolution of my set, if you will, and it is a working shop. I do all kinds of things in here when I'm not making videos. But I'm always looking for ways to improve this and make it look better. And along with that, with the videos themselves, going back to now the 2015-2016 timeframe, I started trying to use a lot more things, some of the editing tools. When you see the split screen view, this was something that was important to me. There are so many videos that are produced out there where you see people bang, 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 firing away, and either they're shooting at a metal target and you have no idea where they're hitting, you just hear clang, 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 or they're using some sort of a mannequin target or something that's all shot to pieces. You can't tell where the shots are impacting. I always want my videos to be authentic. If I fire a shot, I want you to be able to see where that shot hit, and if it's a good shot, it's a good shot. If it's not such a good shot, it's not such a good shot. But to me, at least, that feels more real. That you get a better idea of how the firearm I'm using is performing, how I'm performing with it, which I think is important. There are a lot of firearms out there that might work very well when it comes to just spraying bullets, but maybe when it comes to actually placing those bullets where you want to on a target, that might not work quite so well. So this is an important thing for me, and I started working on that editing aspect to be able to bring it to all of you. And the more I got into video editing, and this is another thing, I still don't feel like I know a lot about video editing, but I also feel like I'm probably doing things with my editing software that the people who designed it never expected would be done with it. I come up with workarounds and ways to do things and ways to show things, and I usually get what I'm looking for. Sometimes even when I make a mistake in the recording, sometimes I can correct that through editing and still give you a pretty good idea of what I'm trying to show when I'm producing the videos. So that was a constant thing that I was working on. I tried to come up with a much more routine, predictable production schedule. where I make the midweek video on Wednesday and the big premiere video that comes out on Saturday. And that was something, when I first started doing it, I've mentioned this in the past, that I styled my midweek video after something Rush Limbaugh did on his radio program. He used to have what he called the morning update. And it was just a little 5-minute blurb in the morning where he would talk about what he was going to talk about later on the big show. And that was kind of the idea I had in mind. I wanted the midweek video to be kind of a short video on a topic that I could cover quickly, that really was something that wasn't a broad enough topic for the longer Saturday video, but it helped maintain a dialogue with all of you. And this was something that, again, I thought was important, because I felt like what was happening back in those days was people would watch the Saturday video, maybe on Saturday or maybe sometime during the week, and think, oh, okay, that was a pretty good video. And then they would go on about their lives and, not necessarily think about it again when the following Saturday came around or when the next video came out or what have you. And trying to rely on YouTube notifications, even for subscribers, is a very much hit and miss proposition. So I thought, if I allow my viewers to understand that there are certain days where the video is going to come out, it might help to get them to think about it kind of like their favorite TV show when it was going to come on, or some other thing that they enjoy, radio program or what have you, and they would know when to look for it. And even if they didn't see it when it comes out during the premiere, they would know that it was going to be out on that day or at that time, and then they could watch for it later on, or look at it later on. So I started working on that, and that was something that actually worked very much in my favor, because with the more routine production, views went up, and also I was now producing more videos, so there was more ad revenue coming in, so my ad revenue went up. So that was something that worked out very well. That's something that I still try to maintain to this day, and there are once in a while Wednesdays or Saturdays that come around that I don't have a video up, but most of the time I do, and I really feel obligated to do that. So if there's a day that comes around, if it's a Wednesday or a Saturday, and there's not a video, there's a good reason why there wasn't a video. It wasn't just that I felt lazy that day or didn't want to produce one or whatever. Usually there was a holiday, or I've been traveling, or some other thing going on, and I just couldn't make one. So time continued marching on, and late 2016 became 2017, so I'd just gone over 4 years of producing videos on YouTube. And I was pretty happy at that point with everything about the channel except me. And the way this came about was after another very successful video. And in January of 2017, I went to a nearby gun show here in Ohio in the city of Medina, which is not very far from me. But it's one of the larger gun shows in the area. And just a day or two before this, Smith & Wesson had announced the release of the M&P 2.0 series. So I went to the Medina Gun Show, and lo and behold, in one of the cases there was a brand new M&P 2.0 9mm pistol. And I decided to purchase the pistol because I really wanted to take a look at it and see if it was any better in my estimation than the M&P pistol that I'd been carrying at that point for about 5 years at my police department. So I purchased it and brought it home, and I produced a review of that particular pistol. Now, remember what I told you before, that the thing that really draws views on YouTube is having the newest, latest, and greatest. And with that video, it took off like a shot. It went up when I released the video, and at that time, I think there were only like 2 other videos on all of YouTube showcasing the 2.0 M&P, and they were very short videos. There was not a lot of detail in them. Mine was fairly detailed, and I showed a comparison between the original M&P and the 2.0 pistol, and I went out and I did some shooting with it and everything else. And when I watched that video, I really was not happy about the way I looked. And at that point, I weighed about 250 pounds, give or take a pound. For all of you who have been in police work, you know law enforcement work does bad things to your body between the hours and irregular times that you eat and eating too much because of stress and everything else, that it really does bad things to your body, and I was no exception. And I went on a very strict diet, and through the course of the year of 2017, I think I started to improve the way I looked quite a bit. By August of that year, I made a video talking about why it was I had done that. I talked about some of the things that were going on in my life that I really decided, or that caused me to decide that I wanted to change my eating habits, change the things I was doing. And I produced what to this day was the hardest video that I have ever produced for YouTube, because it's a much more personal topic that I'm discussing. I'm actually talking about myself and not talking about the things I'm comfortable with, like firearms and ballistics and hand loading and all those kind of things. So I produced that video, and a lot of people have contacted me since then and talked about how inspirational it is, and they feel like they want to do the same thing, and they've thanked me for it and everything else. And really, I sincerely hope that if anybody has drawn anything from that video that has helped them, I am happy. That is why I put it up there. I hope that it has helped in some way, and good luck to all of you who are going down that same path. It is a long path, it is a difficult path, and I wish you nothing but the best in your endeavors. So now, in the mid to late 2017 timeframe, I was feeling pretty good. I felt like I was improving the channel. I felt like I was improving myself. By the way, that M&P 2.0 video that I mentioned before is now up over 500,000 views, so that was a very successful video for me. The only thing was, I felt like I was more or less doing the same thing that everybody else was doing. I was doing firearms reviews, I was trying to show some training techniques and some tactics and things like that. But I was trying to come up with something that would separate me more or less from everyone else on YouTube. And this must have been around the same time we were conducting our annual qualifications for my police department. And I absolutely do not like the Ohio qualification courses. They bug me. I don't think they're very good courses. So I made some videos more or less poking fun at those courses. The first one I went out and made, I think, was with my M1 Garand, and I shot that on the Ohio carbine qualification course. I fired a handgun qualification course with a couple of cap and ball revolvers. I fired the qualification for the carbine again. I shot a Marlin lever action. That video actually did very well. I'm not sure what it's up to now, but I believe it's well over 200,000 views or thereabouts. But I made those videos kind of as a joke, again, sort of poking fun at courses that I didn't think were very good. And then another strange thing happened. Someone contacted me from Nebraska, a police officer from Nebraska, and asked me if I would produce a video showing the Nebraska qualification course. And I think I started out with the carbine/rifle qualification course, and then I also followed that up with the handgun qualification course from Nebraska. And I thought this was going to be a one-time, kind of fun, do a course from another state and show that in a video. Well, then somebody else contacted me from another state. I think it was Idaho, or maybe Iowa was the second one. And that person asked me to produce a video showing their qualification course. Then somebody else asked me to do the same thing, and eventually somebody suggested, hey, why don't you do a qualification course for every state in the United States? And I thought, wow, what a cool idea. That's something unique. I don't know of anybody who's ever done this. Thus started a 2-year odyssey. I had no idea what I was getting myself into. And again, this was a place where all of you really, really stepped up. I had firearms instructors from around the country. I had citizens from around the country contacting their law enforcement agencies and asking for copies of qualification courses. And with some states, that I got them very easily. They had their qualification course listed on websites. There were, I think some states, I think Texas might put them on the back of placemats in restaurants or something. It seems like no problem getting some of the qualification courses. But other states regarded their law enforcement qualification courses as a top secret document. There were some states that don't have a statewide course, so I was using agency qualification courses to represent those states. And again, I had people sending me courses. I had people sending me targets. I had people that I was asking questions to try to make sure that I was producing these videos correctly and conducting the courses correctly. And eventually I succeeded. It wasn't easy. I managed to conduct a qualification course from every state in the 50 United States. And I believe that accomplishment is unique. I don't know of anyone else in history who has done what I did. Now, I've not been contacted by Guinness. Nobody has gotten a hold of me from any record books or anything like that. Nobody has conducted a TV special talking about what I did. So it seems to have gone largely unnoticed. But I produced those videos with the idea of comparing and contrasting those various qualification courses. And my overarching goal was to try to provide something that would help everyone who was formulating a course or considering adopting a course, or even outside of law enforcement. I've had some people that are working in private security and some church security, churches that have armed security that are looking for a course to try to use for training and evaluating their people that have used some of the things in those courses. And that's what I was really hoping for. And eventually I had to come up with a grading scale in order to compare one course against another to try to rate which one was a better course and which one was not. And to my knowledge, no one has ever done that before either. And eventually I came up with what I thought was the best law enforcement qualification course in the country, which came from my neighboring state of Pennsylvania. Good job again, you folks in Pennsylvania. That's a great course. But looking back at that, when I leapt into that project, I had no idea how long and how much work that was going to take. Now, along the way, that undertaking did a lot to improve my videos because of everything that I had to do. I was constantly working on improving camera angles. I was watching the videos. I was evaluating the videos. I was looking at ways to make them better. I was improving my editing along the way. Sound is something that I have battled with constantly. And I feel like in the last year or so, I finally made some headway with my sound. I think I'm getting better sound in my videos, and it's not being so different from one video clip to another video clip. I still get it somewhat, but I think I've gotten better dealing with the sound. And a lot of that came from the experience through working that entire series of 50 state qualification courses, plus the semifinal rounds that I did and the conclusion videos that I did and everything else, the final wrap up and all that. So along with my main goal of comparing and contrasting those courses and putting that information out there, I feel like I improved my presentation and my video production tremendously through that experience. I've got to say a quick word about the music you hear in my videos. I get questions from people around the world asking if they can buy sheet music and where they can find the music that you hear in my videos. And a lot of you already know that every note of music you hear in my videos is composed and conducted by either my daughter or my son. The piano music is exclusively created by my daughter. The guitar music comes from my son. And the music you hear in this video is actually some new production by my daughter, who is going to be applying to the School of Music. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed for that. Hope all of you will as well. And who knows, she might get even more and more creative, and maybe someday we'll see her on a record label or producing a record for a record label or something like that. And I'm showing my age because nobody listens to records anymore, but you know what I mean. So anyway, that's the quick word that I wanted to mention about the music you hear in the videos. And so here I am, 10 years later to the day after this guy first appeared on YouTube. So where do I see the HR Funk channel going? Well, the first thing I'll say is, had I known back in 2006 that eventually I was going to be producing videos and I was going to have a channel with over 52,000 subscribers, I think now, I would have come up with a cooler sounding name than HR Funk. I'm kind of stuck with it now because that's how I'm identified, that's how all you know me. And I actually never went by HR prior to this whole YouTube thing. And I've gotten used to it now, I kind of like it, but I always just went by my first name. And now I am known to the world as HR Funk. But yeah, I kind of wish I'd have come up with something cool back in the day, like, you know, the Tactical Super Sniper or something like that. But okay, that sounds silly. But anyway, I wish I'd have come up with something that sounded better. Moving forward, I want to keep expanding what I'm doing. I want to keep improving. I want to keep putting out content that all of you can enjoy and hopefully you can get something from. In order to do that, I think I'm going to have to continue expanding and exploring some of these contacts within the firearms industry. This relationship that I have with Hop Munitions currently is great because they have a large number of firearms that they're willing to loan me, and I can bring them in. And of course, they don't manufacture them, so they don't really concern themselves too much with what I say in the reviews of these firearms, but they have a lot of new production firearms that I can get in and take a look at, and again, let all of you know what I think of them. Quite a few of them, by the way, after they've been reviewed, have become part of my collection. So, and I am paying for those. I'm not getting them for free. But I want to continue doing that. I want to continue to improve my video production. I'm still not completely happy with the way things look and the way things sound, but I want that to get better. I hope to continue my own education in firearms. Now, at this point, I am completely retired. I'm not working in private security anymore, and of course, I retired from law enforcement some time ago. So any training that I undergo at this point is going to be on my own time and my own dime, but I want to continue doing that so I can continue to bring to all of you training tips and ideas for things that might help you out. I want to continue talking about concealed carry issues. I want to continue to expand the live stream show. That's something that when I started the live streams, this was another thing that I was very hesitant on because I didn't know how I was going to do. I thought, you know, I'm used to, at the point that I started the live streams, I thought I'm used to producing videos. And with the videos, I can produce something, I can look at it. If I don't like it, I can pitch it and re-record it or what have you. But with the live stream, it's all live without a net. And I thought, yeah, I don't know. You know, I'm not a professional trained broadcaster. I'm not somebody with any kind of experience in that. And again, you see that hesitancy on my part to leap into some of this stuff. But I started to produce the live streams, and it took me a long time to even get used to calling my live streams a show, because I thought, I don't do a show. I'm not somebody on TV or on the radio or whatever. I just conduct a live stream. Well, now I am comfortable with calling it my show, and I love producing the live streams, and I really, really love having the guests come on and have discussions about firearms. You know, all of you that participate in the live chat, that's fantastic. You know, I enjoy that as well, and being able to respond to the questions and comments there. But actually having someone come on that I can see and engage in a dialogue with, and all of you can hear what this other person's ideas and perspectives are, I really, really enjoy. So that's another aspect to this whole YouTube experience that I want to continue to try to expand and improve. And beyond that, I'll continue doing some of the same things that I've done. I want to continue with the firearms reviews. I'll continue with my occasional philosophic videos and videos dealing with issues of the day that I produce from time to time. And those aren't really my forte. I only put those up when I have something that I feel very strongly about, and I want to try to put a message out that hopefully will resonate with some of you. But those are the kind of things that I see myself doing moving forward. So I hope you've enjoyed this 10-year anniversary special, and I also hope you can join me tonight once again at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the anniversary special live stream. And for now, I guess I'm going to enjoy a stogie, maybe a sip of champagne, and then I'll get started on the content for the next 10 years. Folks, for all the support you've given me over the last decade, thank you, thank you, thank you. You have no idea how much that means to me and how much I appreciate you taking the time to watch the videos, comment on the videos, and all of the other things you've done to make this channel so enjoyable. Thank you very much, and until next time, good shooting. Bye-bye.